Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp. My name is Glen and today we've got another look at 10 of the games coming out on the Nintendo Switch in this upcoming week. Now last week was a bit of a mobile port heavy week unfortunately. Is this week going to be any better? Well, let's find out. First up, coming out on the 11th, we have Fascist. I even made a conscious effort to pronounce my TH there for you. This is a turn-based strategy game set in space with a dice roll mechanic and also includes cannibalism. Of course it does. Now this has been out on Steam and the PS4 I believe as well for a little while and comes from Cubic Games, who are doing their usual of giving you a discount off of this game if you own any of their previous ones. The amount that you get off varies between regions. I believe it's 25% in the United States and 33% in Europe. It promises a mixture of board game and video game mechanics, with the outcomes of your choices being determined again by the roll of the dice. You will need to guide your crew through onboard disasters, food shortages and the unforgiving nature of space, so says the blurb. You will need to maintain your health and sanity of your crew as the realisation of their plight begins to play on them. It mentions that it's only one player, which is odd. I would have assumed this would have been a multiplayer game, but maybe one to look out for if you are a fan of digital board games.
None of this makes any sense. It keeps changing. Is this real? Is this something that's happening now or something that's going to happen? Can we stop it? And if so...
Next then, releasing on the 14th, we have Boot Hill Bounties, which is a game I've had my eye on for a little while now actually. It goes for £12.19 or $14 or Euros 99 and has 35% off this price in the US only for the time being. It's another game that's been out elsewhere before, and this one describes itself as a retro RPG Wild West adventure for 1 to 4 players. You can play cooperatively and there are no random battles. You can avoid any enemies you see on screen, plus turn-based combat is replaced with a real-time system instead. I love the look of the sprite work. It looks bold and colourful with those nice big chunky sprites that you see in games sometimes, and it also promises a host of unique NPCs and side quests to take part in as well. Also on the 14th then we have Path of Giants, coming in at £6.19 or $8 or Euros 99. This game has been on iOS before and is a puzzle game where you must guide 3 explorers, Burn, Matchy and Toch, through a variety of cabins and cliffs, solving a host of puzzles as you go. You must swap between the 3 explorers, and in that respect it reminds me of a game on the Super Nintendo called The Lost Vikings, a game I enjoyed very much back in the day. Now this, from the trailer at least, goes for an isometric 3D style, whereas of course that game was 2D, but the general idea appears to be very similar, and if it's half as good as that game, then it'll be well worth picking up.
And when you look on the horizon, what you see is what you get. A sparkling of diamond and the southern sunset. Oh.
Coming out on the 16th, we have a game called Galaxy Warfighter, which appears to be a retro-inspired shoot-'em-up. The game promises that there are 10 different types of enemies, all of which have their own attack schemes, and the game also includes 4 unique bosses as well. There are 8 different weapon types and an upgrade system to use with them. The blurb says there are 100 levels, which, considering there are only 10 different enemy types and only 4 bosses, I'm not quite sure how that would work. And to be honest, the trailer on the Eshop doesn't give very much away at all, being only about 30 seconds long, and most of that being company logos. I certainly like the style of the sprite work. It's got the colour and the carnage just right by the looks of it, but it will remain to be seen how this one plays. Next is Billion Road, which comes out on the 16th and will cost you £35.99 or $39 or Euros 99, and this is a party game where you need to travel across a map of Japan, earning money more than anyone else and investing said money into properties, looking to of course then make a profit from these. As well as this though, there are monsters running amok on the board too. Now I don't know a lot about this game, but this one has been out in Japan for a little while and did have a physical copy. I know as much because I looked into importing it at one point, but as far as I could see it didn't include an English language option, so now of course it's coming out in English anyway. This one actually looks quite a lot of fun. If you like things like Mario Party and of course are comfortable with that higher price point, then it may well be worth having a look into. Next we have Super Pixel Racers, which again comes out on the 16th and has a 10% pre-order discount up until the day before its launch. This is a top-down racer with 2D pixel graphics, and funnily enough I mentioned in a buy and avoid video recently that I have a huge soft spot for such racing games. Harking back to the days of things like Micro Machines, Super Sprint, or even the isometric ones, as I said in that video, my favourite being Super Off-Road. There have been so many games try to emulate the style and get the formula right of games such as Micro Machines all these years later, and very rarely do they succeed for whatever reason. This one appears to hit all the right notes in terms of the features it includes, with both local and online play, takedowns where you can destroy other cars, and a drifting mechanic included as well. It does say that the outdoor tracks are procedurally generated, so take that as you will, and having been available on Steam for a little while, it seems to have a fairly positive rating on there as well. Perhaps if you've played the Steam version you can let me know if it's one to be excited for. The next game then is called A Fold Apart and will set you back £16.99 or $19 or Euros 99, and this one has a clever mechanic whereby you manipulate the world around you by folding it almost like a piece of paper to try and get a couple who are having a long distance relationship back together. It reminds me in some respects of a game already on the Switch called Flipping Death in terms of that flipping of the world mechanic, and also another game that I played on the Wii U called Tengami, a really lovely game where again you folded and manipulated the landscape. It has that very charming homemade paper look about it, and also promises to have over 50 handcrafted paper folding puzzles. Next out then, on the 17th, we have a game called Hyperjam, which will cost £13.49 or $14 or Euros 99. It has a 15% pre-order discount in the EU until the 16th, the day before it releases, but this discount lasts a bit longer in the US, going up until the 26th. This is an arena brawler, but has quite an interesting mechanic where you receive a perk at the end of each round, which will then obviously shape your character. These perks can stack to make even more powerful effects as you go through the rounds, and the blurb promises that this will mean that no two games ever look the same. It's available on Steam already, and it has that kind of neon cyberpunk look about it, and caters for multiplayer, locally and again online. As long as it's got a bit of longevity to it, this one actually looks really interesting. The penultimate game, again on the 17th, is called Freakout's Calamity TV Show, which is a top-down twin-stick shooter inspired, as it says, by old-school arcade games, and by that I would take it to mean Robotron, obviously, and by extension Super Smash TV as well, I'm sure. It has a story that's been used many times before now, with the Running Man-esque TV show where you must fight for your life in a dystopian future, and the game also includes 2-player couch co-op with 19 levels across 5 chapters, each with its own boss fights. It says you can customise your gear with various weapons, and that there are 13 different enemy types. It comes in at £8 or $9 Euros 99, and for that price it might be worth a punt. And the last game for the week then is called Rover Wars. This appears to be a real-time strategy game, but makes a point in the blurb of saying that it's quite a casual experience, mentioning that if you want to jump straight into the action without having to spend hours learning how to play, you need to build factories in order to produce more units, and proper resource management will allow you to defeat the enemy. It has up to 8 players able to play locally, separating into teams, and it looks as if you can play against the AI as well. As well as a campaign, there is a battle mode too, with 17 different maps available in this mode. I suppose it will depend just how casual is when it comes to this game for some people, but at about £9 or $10, again it might be one to at least consider. So there you have it then, 10 games for this week. For about the third week in a row, it's a very mobile or Steam port heavy week, although a couple of the games look interesting. The Racer and the RPG, the Western one, certainly stick out for me. Is there anything that interests you? Please do let me know in the comments. If you've played any of these games on Steam or Android before, let us know if they're any good. It's always useful to get a bit of a heads up. A quick thank you to our Patreons as always for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, stay safe, and happy gaming.